Hello class, and welcome to section 9.1b, which is about the area of triangles. By the end of today's lesson, you will know the area formula for triangles and be able to calculate that measurement. So, we're going to start with just a quick little observation activity here. And I've got two different triangles. I'm going to go ahead and take this triangle, this first top one, and replicate it so that we've got two of the same triangle. Now remember yesterday when we were dealing with congruent trapezoids, I wanted you to find a shape that you already knew the area of that we could put those trapezoids together to make. The same idea is true with these triangles. So if I flip this second triangle upside down and put them back together, once again, we have a parallelogram. A top and bottom parallel, a left and right parallel. And we notice that each triangle takes up half of this parallelogram. Same thing would happen if I copy this second larger right triangle. Again, if I rotate that shape and bring it back together, we once again end up with the parallelogram. For either of these, in order to find the area of the parallelogram, I would take the base and I would multiply it by the height. Notice the base of the parallelogram and the height of the parallelogram are the same as the base of the triangle and the height of the triangle. Because the triangle is only part of this whole parallelogram, we have to cut it in two to find the area. So that's where we get the formula. Area of a triangle is equal to the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle divided by 2. Because those two pieces together make the parallelogram, each piece individually makes the triangle. So, if we're looking at this one right here, we've got another example of a right triangle. If you are given a triangle on a piece of grid paper, you would have to calculate the number of units for each of those measurements. So I'm going to start by looking at the base. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So my area is going to equal my base of 6 times, going up for my height, 1, 2, 3, 4. So times the height, and then divide by 2. So I would plug that into my calculator or do those calculations in my head. 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. So the area of this triangle is 12, and then because they don't give us a label, we would just call it units squared. Remember, all areas are talking about square units. How many little of these squares can we fit inside? And this particular triangle can fit 12 of those squares inside of it. I want you to go ahead and try and find the area of this triangle on your own. So we would take the base of 12.1 times the height of 6.4 divided by 2, and that's going to give us an area of 38.72 meters squared. We can also use this area formula to help us find the missing measurements inside of a triangle. So this one tells us that the area of the blue triangle is 72 yards squared. The base is 12 yards, but we are missing the height. So when we do this, we're still going to use our same area formula, which is base times height divided by 2, but we're going to be plugging in some values into the actual area. So the area is 72. Is equal to the base, which is 12, times the height, which we don't know, so we're just going to leave that as h, and then we're going to divide by 2. Now, in order to solve this problem, this goes back to some of our algebraic steps that we learned in our earlier chapters. We have to undo the math operations to get this variable h by itself. I'm going to start at the end, and to get rid of dividing by 2, I need to multiply by 2 on both sides. Because remember, dividing and multiplying are opposites, so that makes the 2's go away. On the other side, we have 72 times 2, which is going to give us 144. And then that's still going to be equal to 12 times the height, which we still don't know. Now I need to get rid of that multiplying by 10. In order to get rid of multiplying by 12. So in order to get rid of that, we need to divide by 12 on both sides. Again, that makes the 12s go away. And that's going to give me 144 divided by 12, which is 12. Then I need to put my label on, since it's a single measurement and not the full area. We're looking for just yards. So the height of this particular triangle also happens to be 12 yards. Your base and your height will not always be the same number. It just so happened to work out for this problem. So you actually have to go through and do this process every time, plugging in your area and either the base or the height that you know, and then working backwards to solve. Go ahead and try this one on your own. This time we are looking for the missing base, so you plug in 40 for the area is equal to base, which we don't know, times the height of 8 divided by 2. To get rid of divide by 2, we times by 2. To get rid of multiplying by 8, we divide by 8. And that gives us our base value of 10 meters. Last piece we're going to look at is a couple of word problems. So this first one, a painter is working on a house that has a triangular roof that is 30 feet long. So that's how long our base is, and 16 feet tall. So we can draw in that height here as 16 feet. What is the size of the area she will be painting? So we want to know how big this front of our roof is so that we know how much paint we are going to be using. So we're going to go ahead and take area is equal to base, which is 30, times height, which is 16, and then we're going to divide that all by 2. Into your calculator, you would go ahead and plug 30 times 16 divided by 2, and when you do that, you are going to get an answer of 240 feet squared. That is the amount of area that she will be painting. Again, don't forget to put your labels onto these problems because feet squared is very different than centimeters squared. So we always want to know what kind of measurement we have when we're solving these problems. The front of a tent has the dimensions as shown in the picture. So we've got our base of 5 and our height of 3. How much material was used to make the front of the tent? Go ahead and calculate that area on your own. So we set up area is equal to base of 5 times height of 3 divided by 2. And when you do that calculation, you end up with 7.5 feet squared. If you have questions about this or anything else from the lesson, please feel free to reach out and let me know.